Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we're jumping down into the charts for Bitcoin, taking a look at what's been going on most recently and what I would expect to happen next. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And if you have not yet joined us in our Discord server, why not check it out? Link is in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. So why not go ahead and check that out today? And of course, why not check out our new Cheeky podcast as well? Link is in the description down below. It's a fantastic way to stay up to date with all the latest in everything crypto on your daily commute to the office. So why not check that out? Okay guys, let's waste no more time. Let's jump right down into this. Right here we have Bitcoin paired up with USDT on the hourly chart, and Binance is our data source. Now, yesterday we were talking about, completing our zigzag pattern, our 5-3-5 structure, or ABC, however you want to label it up. Basically this fourth wave move just up the top here, okay? And we were looking for confirmation of this, okay, by preferably moving down lower than our wave 4 structure here. Okay, in an ideal world we want to get this double confirmation by moving down lower than 19,770, which is a blue line just dashed down here. Now this is going to be basically ushering us in with a new low lower than our origin point, or origin point I should say, from wave 1. Okay, so this is where we really do get confirmation that we are now heading on down out of this structure here and into what I believe to be the final fifth wave down. Now this 535, I'm just going to label it up as an ABC because it's going to make it easier to kind of see. And then we might have to revisit it, I don't know, but hopefully we won't have to. But I'll show you what is going on here. So if I just label this up ABC, okay, so we have our 3-wave structure to the top here. This is our 4th wave move, and it is still possible, okay, that we go up higher, okay, and we haven't necessarily finished our C wave, okay, because remember our C wave had the ability to go up higher on a 1-to-1 ratio. It fell very, very short. It found that resistance within our expectations of a 5th wave high, okay, within our C wave. We have started to pull back down, but it haven't met my expectations on where we should be heading here on this move to the downside. So confirmation of the move down is yet to be had. We could of course look at this in one more kind of bullish sentiment to the upside. Okay, so it's possible that what we're having here is in fact something like this, where we continue to move up. You can see here we have this double bottom, which is usually bullish, and here you can see we could move to 22,700, making that our C wave high. Okay, although it wouldn't actually meet our zigzag requirements, it would meet an ABC requirement here of a 3-wave structure. But so I'm hoping that isn't the case, and I'm going to show you what to look out for if that is something that actually occurs, right? So basically here we have a 3-wave drop at the moment, right? So we just go A, B, and C, right? That's what we've kind of got. Now what I'm expecting is a 5-wave drop, and then we kind of have overlap on a leading diagonal. That's okay. I haven't got a problem with that. This entire structure to the end here could be an ending diagonal. There's lots of different things that could be going on here. So I'm not overly too concerned with this structure at the moment, but I am overly concerned with our 4 and 8 hour structures, okay, because they could be actually taking us up higher rather than lower, meaning that I've got this wrong. Okay, so I'm open to the idea that I have got this wrong. This, in my opinion, though, is the most probable based on all of the data that we have available to us. However, it is also possible that this down here is our low point, is our bottom of our bear market. I don't think this is the case personally, but it is possible that this is the bottom. Okay, and in order for that to kind of be shown, we've kind of got ourselves a possible overextended 3rd wave in the making here, okay? And what we want to do in order to prevent this is to basically come down lower than our 19,770, right? And by coming down lower than this, it prevents us from going up higher within that 5-3-5-3-5 structure. And that impulsive 3rd wave structure will be invalidated if we actually move down lower than 19,770. Now, why do I say I want to avoid this? Well, I want to avoid it because what I want to do is I want to finish off the structure that we've been mapping for quite some time, right? And in order to do that, we're really talking about 15,422 to 16,743. This is the area that I want to see Bitcoin in order to complete this entire structure. Once we've completed this structure, then I want to reverse and I want to move on up. This puts us in a really good spot for many altcoins, much accumulation, etc., etc. So for Bitcoin to come down here is kind of ideal, really, to kind of complete all of the structures that we've been talking about, not just for Bitcoin, but for many other altcoins as well. Now, my concerns are, and I'll draw this up for you guys. Let me just remove this, and I'll show you what I mean by this, right? So over this side here, we have ourselves a nice 5-wave structure, just like so. Okay, you're familiar with that. We then have ourselves a 3-wave correction just here. Okay, a little bit short, but that's fine. And then, of course, we have our 5-wave structure just over here. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? Now, this 5-wave structure is very, very short in comparison to this one. And therefore, it's possible, if I remove this side, that we actually have a 3-wave structure drop here, which we are right now. Okay, and then we come on up into a 5-wave structural move upwards. Now, this, if I take this 5-wave structure here, and I take our current low point over here, we would be looking at 24,146 within our kind of 5-wave structure upwards, right? And what that would do is it would basically mean that we'd have 5 structures here, okay? And if I grab hold of this, we'd have a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, some kind of retracement, and some kind of wave 5 upwards, right? Now, with that 5-wave structure there, what you'd have is then the ability to go, this is a wave 1, this is a wave 2, this is a wave 3, then you have a wave 4, then you have a wave 5, right? And what you're starting to see here is the formation of a reversal out of this descent and a complete change in the trend direction, okay? So up here, we have this trend direction to the downside, right? And then here is the on the cusp of and the potential to have this reversal trend, okay? And this trend coming on up would basically show us with invalidation of our macro trends to the downside, okay? So essentially, this is kind of the thing that we want to be aware of. This is a technical possibility within the charts for Bitcoin, and therefore it puts us at a bit of a risk of maybe not seeing these lows, right? So if I come on in here and I just zoom back in, you can kind of see the importance of this move coming on down in relation to you know, finding that bottom for this this bear market for Bitcoin. Now, obviously, you might be thinking, well, what's changed? Why are we thinking about, you know, maybe moving on up? And it really comes down to the stochastic RSI. This hourly chart looks pretty bearish, right? We're up here in the overbought area. And, you know, we're not exactly having the good volume coming here. If I throw the volume on, you can see that pretty much once we had dropped down here, the volume dropped off, specifically as the price was trying to push up. So that's showing us that basically the sentiment isn't to buy, it is to basically sell. But we'll turn the volume off there for a second, come over to the 4-hourly, we're oversold as we pull back down here. If I throw the volumes on here, you can see that basically during this descent, we are actually losing the volume. We're losing that momentum. The selling pressure is starting to waver. And again, this is also seen from these wicks, right? Basically, the sellers are getting exhausted and we are oversold, which means a reversal is likely here. Okay, so we're likely to see a surge to the upside soon. So on our 4-hourly, that should be, you know, thinking as a bounce that's coming, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to go up higher than 21,888, but it's definitely something that we should be, you know, mindful of. Then we come over to the 8-hour, and in this 8-hour, we've basically gone from oversold to almost, overbought to almost oversold in this little kind of a correction right here. This is not what you would expect to see if our targets are all the way down at this low end. This basically is actually, you know, the opposite of kind of what we'd want to see. With that being said, though, we can of course be in this oversold area for quite some time, so it's not hugely problematic, but it is something to be mindful of and something to be concerned with, specifically when we have that structure that does potentially indicate that we are actually having a reversal structure, right? So we want to be mindful of all of these things. Now, as we come up into our daily, what do we see? Well, we are actually on the overbought area. So our daily is indicating that we are looking for that macro descent. And again, we can be up here for a while. If I actually bring this across, you can see this little section just here. We were pretty much overbought for this entire sideways trade, and then we drop down to this low by doing down into the oversold area. So being overbought here is actually indicating that we are likely to see those lows that we were talking about. So, you know, I think we've just got to be mindful that some of these timeframes are looking a little bit more bullish than bearish, whereas the macros and, you know, our trend lines are still indicating downward price action. So in summary, guys, right, what are we looking out for? We're looking for confirmation that we are either going up in that, you know, overextended third wave perspective, okay, or we're dropping down, okay. So the two blue lines again mean an awful lot, okay. So in an ideal world, we want to complete the downward price action. That puts us in the best scenario going further forward. Okay, so long term, we actually want to take a little bit more pain now so that we can have long term gain later. So we want to see the price ideally move down and not to lower than 19,770. Okay, going lower than that confirms that we are actually, you know, not having that bullish overextended third wave up, and instead all we're doing is slowly working our way down towards our targets. Okay, now if we were to go up higher than 21,888, then essentially what that's going to tell us is that we haven't finished our fourth wave correction, and potentially we're on the cusp of a reversal, and maybe the Bitcoin bottom is actually in. Okay, so invalidation of our fifth wave lows will be set when the price of Bitcoin goes up higher than $29,282. Okay, so if this fourth wave comes up here, not only would we probably have had the impulsive structure form anyway, that we could pretty much be confident that reversal has come in terms of the trend, but we would also have invalidated our fifth wave down lower. The other thing to bear in mind though, guys, if we do actually increase this fourth wave higher, but do not cross that high of 282. So 29,282. If we do not cross that line, but we actually have increased our fourth wave up higher for whatever reason, then essentially we would actually lower our fifth wave target. The two things are related to each other. The higher the fourth wave goes, the lower the fifth wave has to go. Okay, so for now, what we want to do is we want to kind of keep this in line with where we are. We want to see Bitcoin drop down lower than 19,770. Now, what I'm looking for here inside this little structure, so let's actually now bring up these recent price movements. Okay, if I grab a fib, we can see here we have this first kind of move down. Okay, we'd have to call this kind of a wave one structure. And if I grab hold of this and move it over to here, you can see that we've actually just come down and hovered around on this 1-to-1 ratio. What I'm really looking for is this drop down to about $20,000. Okay, a drop down to about $20,000 would actually put us into a pretty reasonable position for a wave 3. Then we can bounce up, and then we can just move down a fraction more. Okay, now we can have overlap, and this could be a wave 4. Looking at it, it probably is, and this could be a leading diagonal. Okay, and in which case this 1.618 is kind of irrelevant. It doesn't matter too much, but it is something that's going to keep to be mindful of. Now, if we are tracking a leading diagonal, then we can have a mix of 5-wave moves, and we can have a mix of 3-wave moves inside a 5-wave structure. Okay, it can be a little bit complicated, but essentially what we could have here is something like this. We go 1, 2, we go 3 here, we have 4 coming up, maybe it comes up a little bit more, and then we have a final 5th wave down. Then from here what we end up with is a 3-wave structure up, which is usually actually quite big, so we might actually see some kind of decent-ish kind of bounce, but it shouldn't cross the origin here, and then we fall down into a more impulsive like structure. Normally a wave 3 and a leading diagonal would actually be quite shallow, but we'll have to see how that plays out, and then we'll continue that move. And essentially what this would look like if I now actually remove all of those, would be something like this. We'd have a wave 1, we'd have a wave 2, we'd have a wave 3, we'd have a wave 4, we'd have a wave 5. Okay, something to this effect. So, essentially, it might actually be that wave 3 does actually overextend a lot more than maybe we were expecting, and we have something like this. It takes us into our yellow box area, right? So yeah, I think there's a lot of things going on here that we need to be aware of, lots of things to kind of think about. If I just zoom out so you can kind of see that structure here, you can kind of see how we come on down into this move. Now, we are in this little wave 1. Usually it is tiny in comparison, and then normally you have an overextended kind of third wave. Our expectations are obviously 15,422 to 16,743, which is a 1.236 to a 1.618 Fibonacci retracement of our fourth wave. As I said, they relate to each other, right? So wave 4 going up here, wave 5 will go down to 1.236 to 1.618 of the measurement of our wave 4. So with that being set down here, we are looking for this 5-wave drop. It is possible that it overextends and all that kind of stuff, but we're looking for this 5-wave drop here to match up with everything else that is going on. If I bring this up into our 4-hourly chart here, you kind of get a really good idea as to what is going on here. We are inside our overextended 5th wave. This 5th wave, and we are tracking, of course, a 5th wave inside it, and inside that 5th wave, we're looking for 5 waves as well. Essentially, this looks like a 335 correction all the way up here from our highs of November 2021. So essentially, if I draw this out so you guys can see it, we have a 335 correction, of which we are inside our 5th wave. Inside the 5-wave move, we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 structure, of which we are in the 5th wave. There is another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave structure, of which I believe we are starting the 5th wave. And in there is another 5-wave structure, which again, I think we are actually on wave 1. So that helps you understand where we are kind of in the scale of this thing. Essentially on our macro view, we're in a 335. The 335, I think we're actually in the 5-wave structure, the 5-wave drop at the end, of which we are in the last 5-wave move, of which we are in the last 5-wave move of that one. And in the macro and in the micro movements of all of those macro moves, we are inside our wave 1, which means we've still got a fair journey to go to before we get there into that final 5th wave low. Okay, so there's quite a lot going on. There's a lot of things to kind of expect here. There's a couple of different scenarios that I've kind of walked you through. I'm thinking that we have a higher probability of downside, but I am concerned that the 4-hourly and the 8-hourly stochastic RSIs have corrected too fast. So I'm looking out to see if we are moving upwards rather than downwards, and what that might mean for the price action of BTC. But I'm hopeful that we still continue this downward motion and we complete the structures that we've been mapping for quite some time. So guys, I'm going to leave the video there. If you have found this useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With all that said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.